Welcome to my second video talking you through the creation of my samplers using the EXS24 in Logic. First, I'm going to talk you through the claps I've used. Initially, I thought I had an alright amount of percussion going on in this track, but then I realised it was just a kick and the click going on, which was going on. So I thought that I could do with some more, so I decided to do some claps instead, which are down here, the original samples. I recorded it with my SM57, and I did 4 individual layers of claps because I thought I could have some sort of phasing sort of thing going on, you know, like nothing, like not exactly in time with each other. And let me just quickly show you the initial clap. Yeah, they're not, you might be able to tell, I'm not sure if you heard that or not properly, but it might have just sounded like a little clip, but they're not exactly in time with each other. They're sort of out of phase, and I just thought I needed some more percussion, so I recorded these, and then once I'd recorded them, I made a sampling instrument in the EXS24, which is and the clap sampler is here. And just click edit in the sampler, and I got my 4 tracks in here. I literally, all I did was spread them out along the bottom of here, so I could play them anywhere on the keyboard. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the claps. There's no automation going on here at all in the claps, and even in the rest of the percussion. I did, however, do some reverse claps. So basically, all I did was convert this into audio, convert the MIDI into the audio through bounce regions, and got the clap. Let me just zoom in. Yeah, got the individual clap and all together in one audio file, and I actually I used the marquee tool and the scissors tool to cut it, but I actually just cut the actual audio just before it hit the clap, so it's sort of like the the swell into the clap. Initially it would be the tail, but as it's reversed, I'm just going to call it the swell. And that actually, the only reverse clapping going on here is just after the little break here, after the intro. The only reverse claps are just here when they're sort of, I wouldn't say they're going half time, but they're not being played half as much as they are here. So that's all that's really going on with the claps. I mean, there's just a little EQ going on. It's actually been sent to bus 7, which was the Space Designer reverb, Roman Cathedral, which I showed you in the first video. And like I said, really nice reverb. Recommend it. So that's pretty much it for the claps. So the second sampling instrument I sort of turned into a synth. Yeah, it's very weird. I actually got... Hang on, let me just play it for you. Not sure if you'll be able to hear this. But yeah, no, that is the sampler I created. As you can see, there's a lot of plugins going on here. What I did was I actually got some vocals from mine and Simon's Benevolence project. They're pretty much dry. There's nothing really going on. And there's quite a lot of notes held in there. So what I did was I got one of the notes. I think it might have been, actually no, it was here. There's this little held section just there, and I dragged that little cut area into the sampler wherever it is. Just here. This is the initial one. So EXS24 edit. And yeah, so for this one, I pretty much just, I guess, just dragged it out across all the keys, so I could play it on any note, on any key. And I took the one shot and off, and the reverb, the reverse wasn't even on anyway, so yeah. But the pitch, so I have the pitch on, I left it on so I could change the pitch. So the pitch of the note changed every time I played a different key, which gave me this sound. You have to bear with me a second. Here we go. That sort of chipmunk sound, I guess. Really, I guess that's a way to describe it. But yeah, so I decided, because it's MIDI and it's just one held note. One held chord pattern, whatever you may call it. I converted it to audio, and that's why I left this on mute. But this is my audio one, and if we take off all the plugins, it's pretty much exactly the same, apart from this bus here, which is you can hear the reverb on it. The bus 7, yeah, which is that reverb, Roman Cathedral. So first thing I did was I put a pitch shifter on it. I put one going up, one going all the way up, but the mix is only at 30%, so it sounds just like that. So I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a little comparison for you. Then I used another pitch shifter, which was a lower one, and that's actually at 46%, so a bit more than the other pitch shifter. But that gives you like a nice chord pattern. pretty major. So next thing I wanted to do was add some. Hang on, let me just take the. Next thing I wanted to do was add some delay, and I'll pick the stereo delay, and it just gives it that wider spread, it gives it more stereo image. And yeah. So after that, I added some compression, some single band EQ, which, sorry, let me just pause that. Some single band EQ, which I actually do some automation with. Also, I did some channel EQ just to cut off the high end, just to make it fit a little bit better in the whole mix in its entirety. And also the tremolo, which I'd never used the tremolo on Logic before. I used it. I've used it with some like guitar equipment, but I've never actually used the tremolo in Logic before. And it's actually worked really well. I think it's I think it's good, and I'm actually quite proud of it. So the automation going on here is as it builds up to when the sort of keys come in, there's more tremolo. So let me just switch on the tremolo. I'll just play it for you. And it slows down as the keys come in, and it actually adds a really nice feature to the project itself. Also, I forgot to mention the single band EQ. Well, I actually did mention it, but I didn't really explain it very well. The single band EQ, I also did some automation with that, and it starts off at 210 hertz, so I put a high cut filter on it. And basically all it's doing is going down the what's it called? I don't remember what it's called, but the high cut is going back down towards the high end, and the high frequencies shine through a lot more as it goes down. So up here it's a lot more clearer, and whereas down here it's a lot more muffled, which I think works really well. And it's done here. There's not even, it doesn't even play there. It's I think there's no volume, or yeah, but it's done here as well at the end, and also added a little bit of pitch correction because I didn't think that it was exactly in tune with some of the like pianos. Sorry, not pianos, but like this Crunchy FM. Actually, yeah, Crunchy FM piano. I didn't think it was actually in tune with it. So what I did was just add some. See, they're both a little bit out of each other. So, and I just figured it was the sampler, which it was. So I added some pitch correction to it. Much better. Meanwhile, the single band EQ is actually the automation for it is going up and down. And yeah, so for this one, it's not so much. It's a vocal sample, but it's played like a synth, and I consider it a synth. So like vocal sample, a synth. And I actually really like it. I'm really happy with the sound I got from it. Yeah. So the third one, my third and final sound I created using the EXS24 well, my sample created using the EXS24 is actually the same sample, the vocal sample anyway, and it is, here it is, vocal loop, yeah, and let me just play it for you. Yeah. So what I did here was I got the EXS. I put the sample in the EXS24, much like I did with the synthesizer sampler. That's what I'm going to call it. And you know what? I actually forgot to say on the synthesizer, which I just showed you, the second one. I actually did a loop for it, like I did with this as well. So what I did was I clicked view zone loop, went down to zone loop, and that's just switched it off. But here we go. So once you click that, this pops up, and all you have to do is click on whichever samples you want. In my case, it's all of them, and these samples are just here. There's only 4 of them. They're not spread out across the keyboard. But yeah, so all you do, double click on one. I'm going to pick. This is this one. So here it is. This is the length of the sample I'm using. But see this blue one here. But this is the loop. So this is how long it takes before it repeats again. And you know what, let me just take off all the, yeah, here we go. This is the sample, almost dry. There's a little bit of reverb on it. But yeah, the sample, the looper, I've actually adjusted it differently on each one. So actually, each one is has a different loop time, so they have different speeds almost, and yeah, that's what I was going for. Actually, I initially wanted a voice slash vocal sample like this one, and have a couple of them and play each one in like with a different loop length, if that made any sense to you. But yeah, so that is anyway, and the one shot's off along with the reverse, so it only, so as soon as you take your finger off the key or the mouse off the visual key here, it stops playing. But as there's full amount of reverb on here, on the bus here, bus 7, there's a tail of reverb on the end. But yeah, so after this, like the other synth, the vocal sampler synth, I added, I'm not sure if this is actually doing anything. No, it doesn't seem like it is. It's not doing anything. I added some stereo delay, like I did with the other one. Like I did with the sampler there. And I some single band EQ. Added some single band EQ. And here is the automation for it. You see, it is actually it's once again another high cut. So it's cut about halfway here. So it's just a little bit muffled. It's not. It's still apparent in the mix, and you'll be able to hear it. But yeah, and then it gets a bit brighter here and back down, and then at the end, where there's a crescendo around here, in the middle, I suppose it's the middle, the bit before the outro over here, it becomes all bright again, and that's what I was going for with most of the instruments here. What I was trying to do was bring everything together at the end and let it all build up. And for this, what I could have done was just turn the volume up, but or added some distortion or something to it. But I chose not to. I chose to do a single band EQ, whereas I did do some distortion in. Sorry, this is the middle of the track. It's around here. But what I did do add some distortion to was calming waves, just around here. Bit crusher, drive. Yeah, I just raised the drive of it to around here. And yeah. I actually believe that is my third and final sample, EXS24 sample. So I guess I'm done. Thank you for watching.